headings. I'm waiting for you to lose this paper. This is importante. Important. Beautiful. So NERDS is a strategy that you're going to use when you have a multiple choice test. When you have a multiple choice test. So it's something you can use to attack a prompt and be super confident. We are going to have a multiple choice test where you're reading and showing and dominating all of those beautiful strengths that you have 1 week, less than 1 week from today, next Monday. So we want to give you some practice with this strategy so you can dominate even more than you did last time. The first step in NERDS is that you are going to do 2 things. You are going to name the genre. Remember that French word? Which just means what type of story is it? Is it fiction or nonfiction? Is it a poem? Is it historical fiction? And then you are also, if it's not done already, this is sort of like the baby step, is going to be to number the paragraphs. Because sometimes we know we've got to quote our evidence and you want to be like, in paragraph 1, the text states, and you need to know which paragraph it is to be able to do that. So let's add both of those 2 things, name your genre and number your paragraphs. What this looks like on the side is you would say, for example, at the top of your page, you might write NF. Just like we did last week when we read that escape slave nonfiction article, you would put the genre just at the top. And notice how I abbreviated it because sometimes we're going kind of fast. Excellent. The next thing you do after you look at it is you think, oh wait, I read it. But it's actually not time to read it yet. The next thing you're going to do is a big old word called evaluate the questions. So we actually read the questions first. We read the questions first. It helps us to read the questions first because then we know what we're looking for as we read. So you don't just read the questions and say, okay, but you also box. Who thinks they know what this stands for? Box, this little symbol. Austin? Keywords, very good. So you can underline and box keywords. Let's do an example of boxing keywords. Let's box the word key and underline that word underline. That's what it looks like in the question. You don't want to underline everything, just the important stuff so you remember it. Great. This is going to be a reading and writing test, so you can't skip the R. I bet you guys have an idea what the R stands for. The R stands for read. Very good. You can't just skip that part. So you're going to read. But while you read, you're going to use our strategies to mark it up. So over here, we already have 3 strategies for marking it up. So we're going to read and annotate. We're going to read and annotate. Very good. So we can add a little plus sign while you read. You're going to read and annotate. Now, there's sort of that word annotate. It sounds like it has another word inside it, which is note. Remember what we do is we stop every 2 to 3 paragraphs and write a summary. So let's imagine this is our test. Let's just line it up right here. You'd stop and be like, oh, that looks like a good place to stop and make those notes. On your first benchmark, you guys did such a great job of this. The notes, the test scores we gave you were based on the notes you made. You were phenomenal. This is just a reminder to do what you're already doing. Very good. Next up, we've named our knowledge. Our genre, we've evaluated our questions, we've read. Now we need to determine, that just means to decide, the answers. And Miss Kubak has a trick for getting rid of silly answers. What do you call that, Miss Kubak?
You gotta cross out the crazy.
Cross out the crazy. So if there's silly answers, you would cross those out to get rid of those. And then you can look back in the text to prove it. So the last thing, of course, because everything we do every single day is about proving it, you have to show proof. So you're going to go back in the text, you're going to underline that proof and find that evidence. So for example, let's underline this and go number 3. That would be what it would look like. You give an example for number 3. Don't worry, we're going to be doing this today with Nick John, so you get a chance to practice. All right, We name our genre, we evaluate our questions, we read and annotate, we determine the answers, and we show proof. Now we're going to practice actually doing this with a text. We want you to keep this out, put it on the side of your desk so you've got your orange sheet.
Awesome. I just handed out a photocopy chapter of